Welcome back to another episode of Bones and Tubs. This week, since Bones is still out with family stuff going on, I have two special guest stars today. I have with me here today Toe Beans, who's been on the show before.
Hey.
And for the first time ever, we have St. Kathryn of College Corner.
It's a pleasure to be here.
That venerated lady who gives us the topics every week. So dedicated. Thank you for being here.
Like I said, the pleasure's all mine.
Yeah. Okay, so this week on the show, we got a few topics to talk about. Not much going on in the news right now, in particular with current events. It's kind of been a dead week, which I guess is a good thing for this week's show, right?
Yeah, because I don't care. Yeah, I mean, like, obviously I have news and stuff, but I use the newspaper, so I, get my news a week after everybody else. Like, I'm, 70 years old, but yeah. So I'm like, oh, did you hear? And they're like, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that last week. Look up drugs. No, that's okay. Plus, I think sometimes with reading the newspaper, you get to filter out a lot of the bull crap, and plus a lot of the stuff that gets blown out of proportion initially ultimately ends up being something dumb or not that crazy. One thing this week, if you would have read it in the newspaper by now, it probably would have been why? I mean, I get this is serious, but why was it so blown out of proportion? Did you guys see about in DC all those girls disappearing?
No.
Mm-mm. Oh, neither of you did?
No.
Okay, well...
No. I'll see that in next week's newspaper.
I'll see that next week's newspaper. Okay, so this is basically what happened. So when you started digging in it, people and celebrities and everybody started going crazy on Twitter, we need to find our girls, and da-da-da-da-da. And the first reports were that 34 girls had gone missing in a matter of 2 or 3 days in the D.C. area, right?
Did they just run away?
What's that?
Did they just run away?
Here's the thing. Once you get into the meat and potatoes of the issue, all you find out is in reality, of all those 34 girls, only 2 of them were still missing.
So they just, said the most sensational number they could to get everyone's attention?
Exactly. And the thing is, they even, the Metropolitan Police in D.C. showed them the numbers and showed that actually abductions and kidnappings and all that stuff were down over the last couple of years.
So the police were basically calm your tits.
Yeah, more or less. They were calm your tits.
Our official statement is
see those tits?
Calm your memories. Manage your memories.
Because they were because basically what happened is a couple of sensationalists, some crazy Twitter people who have a lot of followers and stuff got a hold of it and started
Twitter.
So what was the reason behind the kidnapping? Were they trying to say it was child abduction ring?
They thought it was they thought it was human trafficking, basically.
Do you know why I don't like Twitter?
What?
Because it just makes issues it just blows things out of proportion.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like in South Park whenever they have a town hall meeting. I imagine Twitter is rabble, 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 rabble.
Because it's literally you have so many characters to give your thoughts out, and you know what? I don't need that many characters to tell you how I'm thinking. I could just be I don't care.
And I'll give you my 70-year-old view of Twitter. I've just started using it this year, even though I was made one in college, and I graduated from college in 2011, if that gives you any sort of frame of reference. But I still didn't understand how to use it. Started using it this year, and now I solely use it to give accolades to podcasters I like. And I get so excited when they like my tweets. I'm like, they see me.
I just don't. Toe Beans does not like Twitter.
I have a Twitter, but I barely use it. I used it a few times at first, and I got excited because I got retweeted a few times.
And then it loses its glory.
It did, yeah, it lost its glory. And Plus, like, I got into it right around, like, let's say September of 2016. And that was a tumultuous time in American history.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So, like, and it made me...
Fiery.
And here's the thing, like, you know, all politics aside, politics to me, like, when you like somebody and you like their comedy and you like the things that they do, but then you get into, like, how they feel politically... It can be really, really off-putting. There were some podcasters that I stopped listening to for a couple months just because all the tweets they were having, especially one of them, he was just so off-putting with his politics that I was like, I can't even listen to this anymore.
Can I guess without saying his name? Was it a Middleist brother?
It was a Middleist
brother.
brother.
I thought you'd had some point of contention with him.
Well, because like the other two, like I get they had they're political too, but they're way more low-key about it. Griffin, the youngest brother.
Too late.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Sweet baby brother.
I doubt they listen to the show, so I don't matter. But Griffin and Justin rarely mention politics. They're very low key about it for the most part, even on Sawbones and stuff like that. But Travis is almost militant, and it threw me off so much that I just couldn't even listen to the show.
Do you think it's that like theatrical side of him, since he's the one that's been on stage and stuff?
I think that might have something to do with it.
I feel like the activism and being very vocal about your activism go hand in hand with the, theater persona. But, Justin and Griffin have both made their views known, but I feel like it's always from a place of respect and about respecting each other.
Travis can be disrespectful, though, about it. And I think that's what's the most off-putting part about it. Like, I've always tried to be, no matter how, like, people see, like, I know me and you two, I'm talking to St. Catherine Tobians, don't see eye to eye on a lot of political issues, but the respect, I think, is still there for the most part.
Oh, exactly. Like, we've grown up together. I mean, if you haven't guessed the relationship between the two of us, I think it's safe to say that we're related. Yeah. And we have fought for years and years and years. Yeah. So we know where we stand. Both of us know, kind of where we're coming from, but that doesn't mean that I don't think that he is intelligent or that his viewpoint doesn't have, good grounding and but
sanity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's the thing. I think it's just sometimes opinions get in the way of people liking things. I started listening to the shows again. Mm-hmm. Here's what I did. I skipped everything from after the election because they were cool before the election. Then the election happened and they went nuts. Travis went nuts. And was talking about, we need to get militant, we need to get organized, and da-da-da-da. And it just like, no, I'm not listening anymore. Mm-hmm. So I skipped everything after the election till like the middle of after the inauguration, just to like avoid all of that because I was afraid like...
Was it really leaking into their podcast though? Like, I didn't really think about it too much.
I was afraid to go to their podcast because I didn't want to hate them forever because the Twitter alone was enough to keep me away. Like, that was enough to, like, scare
I never
me.
noticed anything.
Back to Twitter.
Maybe I could go back and listen to it and see, and maybe I'll be okay. But I feel like the first episode after the election was probably a hard one to listen to.
So I've got you both beat.
Okay.
I had a Twitter in 2009.
Nice!
And here is how...
She was on the front of that one.
Here is how teenage dream I was. I had my Twitter synced up to my MySpace.
Oh, shit.
So every time I would update my status on MySpace, it would tweet.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. Like, I tried to look up my MySpace last year. It doesn't. I mean, as far as I know, it doesn't exist anymore. I can't find it.
I deleted my MySpace because I was like, fuck it, MySpace.
I had to tell you what I had to unearth for your birthday, didn't I?
MySpace.
Chubbs?
What did you have to find?
I had to go through 3 different email recovery things to get pictures of you for your 30th birthday celebration. And I saw some dark things from MySpace, some parts of my personality I guess I had forgotten about.
Oh, about you?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
No, not you.
Oh. I'm sure there's some dark things about me, too.
Okay, you want to know how clever I was then? I took all my MySpace pictures, and I took one summer, and I saved all of them onto my hard drive, and then uploaded them onto Facebook, and then deleted the MySpace.
Very nice.
So I still have those photos.
So before you burnt the house down, you got all the furniture out.
You boxed it up.
There were some angsty blogs that I didn't save because I'm like, fuck this.
Listen, I know that, I had some angsty blogs. I bet you there's still some angsty blogs by Tubbs on the Live Journal somewhere.
Oh, shit.
Go take it back further. All the way back to Live Journal. Oh, my God.
Live Journal's embarrassing. Let's never speak of Live Journal ever again.
I feel like Live Journal was just, again, angsty teenagers or racy sex stories.
I never got that part. Apparently I wasn't
you weren't
reading the right Live Journals.
Well, see,
you could oh.
What happened to me with LiveJournal was this is before I was hip to the internet. I didn't have internet yet. This takes it back even further. I was dating somebody, and then we broke up, and apparently she was talking super jive shit about me on LiveJournal. That's how I got introduced to the internet, because I was like, oh, yeah? Oh, shit! But even then, I was kind of like, whatever. I was like, this fucking internet thing's stupid. Who cares?
It's still kind of...
It's still super stupid. It's super dumb. The internet is stupid.
Well, there I was, little Katie on LiveJournal. Fine, Dexter. Let's see what everyone's newest opinion is on the latest DBZ episode.
Simpler times, though.
Yeah.
So much simpler times.
What did everyone think about Vegeta's move in that episode? That was my LiveJournal experience.
These days and age, you can't even do a blog because somebody's going to be outraged by it.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. And I think that's the flavor of the day, is outrage. Just everyone has to be mad about everything all the time.
I miss 2003 and Neopets. That was my jive.
Let's go back to simpler times. The times of the Neopets.
Buying things that really don't exist.
Not too far back, because furries are disturbing. Furries are disturbing. Furbies are disturbing, but yeah, Neopets.
Every day after school, 6th grade, I would get on Neopets and buy.
I think I missed Neopets, though. I had farther back, I had Tamagotchi.
Yeah, Tamagotchi.
I had a Tamagotchi.
That was before internet. Like, Neopets was just coming out.
You remember the Pocket Pikachu?
Yeah.
I like the Pocket Pikachu.
He was kind of a jerk.
Oh, it was, totally.
It fit the anime, though.
Did you have to, shake it all the time?
Yeah, you had to get steps for some...
Oh, if you shook it. Yeah, we had one of those.
You want to hear a disturbing one?
Oh, no.
I had Little Mermaid. Have you ever had to clean up Little Mermaid poop? That's a whole other level.
Under the sea.
Oh my!
I had my Little Mermaid on my sweet bib overalls that were embroidered, because that was the hip fashion of the time.
Do you think the pocket things were just like motivators to get kids out to make steps kind of things?
They were pedometers. So
yeah, they were pedometers, but we always cheated and sat in the back of the van on a long car ride home.
I just shake my leg like this with it sitting on, with holding my hand on my knee.
And my dad, would you be in the back of the van like this? And he'd be like, "What are you doing back there?" Pikachu. Oh, okay.
Thought we were going to have a serious discussion.
Well, especially John, because John would be back there doing this.
For those who are listening, Tobies was making a gesture that...
Well...
a masturbatory gesture.
Yes.
Yahtzee. But, yeah, that... Dad was like, "What you doing?" Pikachu.
Just
who bought that for you? You did.
I was just rolling some dice.
Yeah, that's why you go Yahtzee. Yahtzee.
Man, simpler times.
I know.
Neopets.
Go back even further, and you didn't have shit like that. You might have had a gray brick, but that's about as far as it went.
I got in trouble for throwing mud balls at my brother when I was little, so. Those were simpler times.
I loved Silly Putty when I was a kid.
It's still awesome.
Yeah, Silly Putty. You're right. I just haven't played in a while.
My kid has Silly Putty. You know what he had? I played with just last night. Was obviously we didn't have that when we were younger, and if they did, we didn't have the money for it. The kinetic sand.
Oh, yeah.
So that is the coolest stuff. I just sit there and just watch it fall apart and everything, and it's like your brain can just go quiet for a little while,
You know what? I played Neopets when I was in college, so I can't say anything about that either.
If I had was it the Pikachu, the yellow version where you could take, what game was it where you could you had something you walked with Pikachu, but then it transferred to the game?
Wait, you're thinking about the Pokeometer.
He did that.
That was in Soul Silver.
Oh, okay.
And Gold, Soul Silver and Heart Gold.
Mm-hmm.
Tubbs did that for one summer, and it drove me up the wall.
Yeah, because what you did was you could take the Game Boy. And you could transfer a Pokemon from the Game Boy to the Pokeometer, and then you wore it, and then you did steps, and you could raise it one level a day on that, and then you transferred it back, right? That was fun. That thing was
Pokemon's
fun.
been the most successful in getting people to move their bodies, I think, is Pokemon Go. I mean, that summer where Pokemon Go was huge, all over Oxford, people out walking.
Neckbeards galore.
Yeah, they came out of the shadows.
Yeah.
Well, that first night that it came out, or it was the first full day or whatever, I left the apartment, and I'm driving, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm driving up the main street, and I look over in that square, and there are people with their phones in their face, and there's, not racist, there's a bunch of, like, Asians, like, skipping through the park at 1 o'clock in the morning. And I remember, like, sitting there at the stoplight, like, staring. Like, what the fuck are you doing? It is 1 o'clock in the goddamn morning.
My favorite statements are the ones that have to start with, not racist.
But there's a bunch of Asian kids. It's the summer because they're the only ones that are there. Let's be honest. Yeah. They don't go back home. It's too pricey.
Well, we just went through spring break and it was the same thing.
They don't go home.
Yeah.
Because I understand. It's probably Hong Kong flight.
Well, it's like I remember when it all happened, I used to take my bike rides around town, right? And I always used to go up through that park.
Remember those days?
That park behind Kroger, right? And I'm taking my bike ride and normally everything's quiet. There's nobody around. And I'm going through the parking lot of this park, and there are like 10 people just in the dark. And you can just see the glow from their phones, because there was like a gym right there, and a Pokestop. And they're all just sitting around battling. And at first I freaked out because I couldn't see their phones. I just saw like 10 people sitting in the dark, just hanging out. And I was like, this is when I die. This is when it happens.
Wasn't that same park we walked to one day?
Yeah.
And there were like kids be like on their phones with Pokemon.
They asked us, are you here to catch water Pokemon? It's like,
no,
we were having a walk and talking.
Having a conversation.
But as much as we joke about it, I think the most annoying part about when Pokemon Go came out wasn't the people playing Pokemon Go. It was the people hating on people for playing Pokemon Go.
Well, you gotta hate on everything. That is the most annoying part of all our culture today. Something can be pure and it can be sweet, and there's someone that has to be crapping all over it. Yeah. No matter what it is.
Like, do you remember we were up at the park, not the park, we were up at the water fountain there in town.
Yeah. And
we were all hanging out, and we had played some Pokemon Go, but at this point we were just sitting talking, conversing with each other. And some douchebag was like on a date, and he like walked past our table, and he's like, everybody, he thought he'd be fucking cheeky and
he was drunk.
Fun and show off in front of his date, and he's like, everybody having fun playing Pokemon Go and everything over here? And we're all just staring at him. And I know I did. And I know Dr. Doug heard he was there with us. He had this look on his face like, how about you suck on my balls right now?
That was the same night that there was a skunk.
Yeah, there was a skunk like literally 5 feet away from us.
Somebody came up to our table and be like, don't be alarmed, but there's a skunk running through the park.
And maybe that skunk was a warrior of justice. Maybe he went after that man who assaulted you.
Justice warrior. Alright, we probably should get to some topics.
Yeah, it's about that time.
Are you sure you don't want to talk about Tamagotchis for another 20 minutes?
Shit. But yeah, so it's time for the topics. And the first one comes from I don't know why I'm singing. From our old friend Tactical Fruit Dip.
What?
Tactical Fruit Dip.
I thought you said Tactical Fruit Dick.
That is what I thought he said.
Tactical Fruit Dip.
Well, you know where my mind was there for a second.
With a P.
Sounds lethal.
A tactical fruit dick. Watch out! Watch out, I'm going to get
if
you.
If it's a pineapple, you better watch yourself.
Tactical Fruit Dip wanted us to talk about the Fermi paradox. Now, for those of you out there that don't understand the Fermi paradox, it's the notion that it's all but impossible that there isn't life outside of our planet. Like, there isn't other planets that harbor life. It's just impossible.
There ain't no other life.
But it's a paradox, because if there's all this life, where are they?
It doesn't make any sense that they're not here yet. And that's when the theories start coming in, and Tactical Fruit Dip wanted us to talk about the different theories of the Fermi paradox, which are... like, I'd say probably, like, and they all have their merits. Like, I'd say one of the most plausible ones is that they want nothing to do with us. Mm-hmm. It could be like a Star Trek thing where they're not going to make any contact with us. They're not allowed to make contact with us because they won't make contact until we figure out some form of interstellar travel, right? Like Star Trek. The Federation doesn't make contact with humans until we figure out warp and are able to warp.
But even in that theory, you have multiple theories that spawn from it. Is the lack of intervention benevolent? Is it have some more insidious purpose? Farming us for something? Or is it they don't think that we are worth their time or their attention?
What if they've already been here and they're just like...
aliens, all that stuff. That's a theory.
We talked about Anunnaki on Bones and Tubs. Look it up if you haven't listened to the episode.
I was on that one.
Yeah, you were on that one.
Yeah.
And you didn't care.
I don't. Because I'm happy in my bubble.
But, I mean, Here's the thing, and I lean towards the Insidious because if they're anything like us, they're on some next level fuck shit. Like they want to fuck with us.
Well, along with that theory is that people say that the nature of humanity or life is to destroy others or destroy itself. So they say maybe we haven't met any other civilizations because they keep destroying themselves.
Oh yeah, I read that theory too, where like there's like a peak. There's like a peak in all like intelligent cultures that eventually they like peak up too far and destroy themselves right before they get to the point of being able to communicate with other species from other planets.
I think we hit a soft spot with the cosmos because our St. Kathryn of College Corner candle just sparked.
You've unearthed the answer. You've solved the mystery.
We have a St. Kathryn of College Corner candle today, and I'll take a picture of it for Bones and Tubs Facebook page so you all can take a look at it. But yeah, like the idea that we haven't made contact because anytime a culture or a race gets too intelligent or too technologically advanced, they destroy themselves before it can happen, which kind of scares me a bit because I feel like we're on the far end of that bell curve. I think I have a bad feeling about this, or it could be like a Battlestar Galactica thing. We raise ourselves up, we create AI, the AI kill us, and then
the AI are coming for us next. But, well, another theory that I thought was pretty interesting too was, they say, why haven't they contacted us? And maybe they have, and they're so alien that we can't understand the communication. Like I heard one theory that was like, their communication with us could just be like background noise to us. Or like,
did you see Arrival?
No, I have not.
I'm not going to spoil it for you then. But I'll give you one thing. I'm not going to spoil the movie, but let's put it this way. The aliens in that movie, they start to try to like communicate with them and understand what they're talking about. And basically what they find out is these aliens don't see in a linear sense. They see in the non-linear sense. So like... Like what? Like multi-dimensional? Well, not multi-dimensional, but like their timeline, there's no like past, present, there's no past, present, or future. It's all at the same time. They have no sense of time. And the point is as they start teaching us the language, the one main character when she starts figuring out the language and truly knowing the language of these aliens, she starts seeing in the nonlinear sense too. So it's just a matter of communication. But so
what do you think of that?
I don't know. I mean, it's interesting, but I don't know. We'll have to. There's
so much unexplained phenomenon and stuff. You know what I mean? Like things we don't understand. It's very possible. Yeah. That we haven't created the means to communicate with them yet, or haven't evolved enough to communicate with them yet. I have to say, I have to bring up one of the most mundane theories, but too expensive. Yeah, that's true. I mean, think about it, like, if they have any kind of economic society like us, they can't afford to come out here and just meet hillbillies. And they're like, why? If they're that advanced, like, why waste the money? Or it's like, maybe we're like the intergalactic version of traveling to Gary, Indiana. Like, what's the point? I'm sorry. I have a Walmart right here. I hate knocking Gary. I'm sorry, but I had to think of some like mundane place that you wouldn't ever like go vacationing to. Like, you just lost all your subscribers in Gary. I know. I feel bad, but I could say the same thing about where I live too. Like, we're the intergalactic version of visiting Preble County. I mean, come on now. I don't have a single pizza delivery place in my town. That's how sad and small. We have one now. We went from going like ham with all the people that come to your house to bring you food. Now it's like 2. It's like a pizza place and maybe, no, not even Chinese. No, you gotta go get that Chinese. Maybe just a pizza place. Now you can get on an app and request food at Taco Bell and then go get it. So you don't have to wait that 5 shitty minutes in the drive-thru that you can't get out of. Listen, I'm not hip to Taco Bell right now. I just can't. They Does it destroy yourself? It burned me. We found I was eating a chicken quesadilla. Oh, I'm scared. And there was a bone in it. I can't eat. I thought you were gonna say a pube. Oh. Then I would see. I'm just boycotting them right now. That would be an all-and-out end to Taco Bell. I would never eat there again. It's like, you remember that story about Bubba
found a nose hair in his blizzard from Dairy Queen one time.
How does he know it's a nose hair?
And knowing Bubba has a very weak stomach, and I'm surprised that man's ever been able to eat any kind of ice cream based beverage again after that. But and then I think some of the more disturbing things we were talking about before with the Fermi paradox is, my most disturbing one is that we are in fact alone. That there is nothing else.
Sorry, I didn't interrupt you. Go ahead, finish.
But that to me is possibly the most frightening aspect of the Fermi paradox, that we are the only intelligent life in the universe. Not that we're completely alone, that there are other planets that harbor life, but we're the only ones that have gotten this far.
Fuck it. I don't care.
But you mentioned another aspect of the Fermi paradox that you found even more disturbing than that.
I think the planetarium theory is so disturbing to me. Now, I'll give something that everyone probably knows. Most people watch Simpsons, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, I think I've seen the episode with Lisa with the tooth.
Yeah.
And the little, life that's created on this tooth. And that they both become gods. Bart and Lisa are gods, and Bart is the destroyer.
Yeah.
The thought that we are those people on that tooth. That at any moment, there's people just watching us, and they can just smush us with their finger. And that we are so insignificant that we're just a novelty for them to watch and to laugh at.
It's like Horton Hears a Who.
Yeah. It's like once somebody smushes us and the other guy's like, "Oh shit, Bob! Fuck, now I gotta start over again."
We are here, we are here, we are here.
I mean, I've heard a truly disturbing, I listen to a lot of short stories that are horror themed, and there was one called Eye of God. Mm-hmm. And it was that theory that they saw, and in the stars, it looked like an eye, and they had come to the conclusion that they were just an experiment. Yeah. We were just being watched by something so much larger than ourselves that we can't even comprehend it. And it just, doesn't it just sap meaning for you to even think of that, you know?
Well, then, there's notions, we've thought about before, I think, on the show, where, in reality, what all this is that we're kind of like a intergalactic penal colony. And that's why we don't get contact from anybody else, because, we've talked about the idea that there's some weird gap in mankind's history, where we should have been monkeys, but then suddenly we jumped to, using stone tools and stuff like that, and being hairless and crazy as fuck, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I've heard a theory before where what basically happened is the theory goes that at one point in time we were another species, and we were a warlike species. We were destructive, like we are, and being conscientious, moral beings in the galaxy. Basically, what happened was they said, well, we can't genocide an entire species because of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to kill everyone, take their DNA, and create a new creature. So their DNA, their genetic heritage will continue, and they will carry on, but they're going to be much stupider than they are now, and they'll be landlocked on a planet. They basically marooned us, gave us a lobotomy, and marooned us.
It's like the Anunnaki.
It is the Anunnaki, but they did it for a reason, because we were so destructive.
In a way, it kind of makes sense, and we see it. In our lives, things that we think we're more intelligent of, we guide their destiny. Think about spaying or neutering your animal.
Dom.
We think we know better.
You have no morals. You must be spayed.
I mean, that goes along with the same line of logic that, well, they can't know about us. Humans can't know about us because they're not ready. We have to let them evolve as they need to, on their own.
Maybe, just maybe, if we give them the time to rethink themselves and evolve a little bit more, they'll be able to shirk their destructive ways and rejoin us.
Okay, so I'm going to be the timekeeper. Okay. Final thought on this topic.
Well, the Fermi paradox is definitely real. Mm-hmm. I mean, for sure. It's just, think about it like this. We're a 1 in 40 billion shot of existing, right? And it seems like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, that's a very small number. So there are other life forms out there. The reason why we haven't made contact yet remains to be unseen, but I don't believe that we're the only ones. I don't believe that at all. Then it makes me believe there's some much more insidious shit going on. The reason they haven't made any contact with us.
Especially with the age of I absolutely agree with Tubbs, by the way. There's just no chance. We're just one planet and one solar system and one galaxy in this huge universe. There's no way that the same conditions cannot be met for life that's here. There's no way. But in that same vein of thought, there has to be a reason why they have not contacted us.
Yeah.
You know, or I don't know what it is.
And I would say if I had to lean towards anything, it's our fault. Yeah. Not theirs.
Especially with the age of our sun. It is a young star compared to other places. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
So that means that there has been chances for much more advancement. If, you know, if our conditions of life have been met in other galaxies, that's way more time for, you know, just think of the evolution and technology from when we were kids to now with cell phones and that. You know what I mean?
Well, think about it like this. Like, 65 million years ago, we weren't even like, there was like little furry rats that are what we are now, what we became. You know what I mean? Like, think about what the hypothetical sense, what if the asteroid hadn't hit then and destroyed most life? Where would things be now? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, like, we've been reset a bunch of times. Mm-hmm. Like, in all reality, we've experienced 5 extinction events on this planet, and we're a young planet. So the reset button's been hit a bunch of times.
Well, maybe all these other civilizations just keep being reset, too.
It's a possibility. Yeah.
Tobin's final thought. I don't care.
Okay. All right, well.
Eloquent. To the point.
Our next topic comes from St. Catherine. We actually have 2 topics. We're going to do back-to-back topics from St. Catherine. The first one we're going to do is she asked us who we thought the greatest heroes of fiction are.
Like books? Or
yeah, well, we're talking...
covering all
Let's cover all of mediums. The greatest heroes of fiction.
God.
I wrote some down. Just some ideas to spitball. I went classic for the first one. I mean, he's probably one of the oldest stories of Europe, and that's Arthur Pendragon.
Okay, good one.
I think he's possibly the original hero of at least like European folklore, unless you talk about like Beowulf and stuff like that. But I'm thinking more like Western European folklore. So I think more Arthur Pendragon.
You see, you're thinking eloquently. I'm thinking like Dumbledore.
Well, see,
hey, I was going to go there too. All that counts.
I wrote down 3 names, and one was classic. The other 2 were more contemporary, and that was Harry Potter and Frodo Baggins.
Okay, well, Harry Potter was one of mine, as was Hermione Granger.
Okay.
As far as more of a classical one, Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, dash Sherlock Holmes. I didn't even think of Sherlock Holmes. But I don't know. I think in my mind, I've always been a huge fan of the underdog type heroes. So, like, I'd say on this list that I made, I would be more leaning towards Frodo Baggins, because he's the unlikely hero.
See, my brain is going, like, trying to think of characters that I would think as heroes, and my brain just went, like, from the medium to the, like, where are we going? Because I just thought of Sagwa, the Chinese Siamese cat.
Sagwa is your hero.
She's my personal hero.
Oh, okay. The Chinese Siamese cat. Okay. All right.
A lot of mine are contemporary. Clarice Starling.
Okay, yeah, she's pretty cool.
Ellen Ripley.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm sorry. She's like the original... I'm not a big cursor, but she's the original badass. I'm sorry. Those 2 women mean so much to me as far as, you know, being intelligent and being strong. And
well, in that vein, Princess Leia. Then.
Yeah, Princess Leia was my next one I was going to say. Yeah.
I'm still thinking Sagwa.
Yeah. I don't know. I said, I've always liked the unlikely heroes and the ones that, like, they would never be the ones you would assume, like, they're going to be the hero. I think those are the ones that hit me the hardest, and they're the ones that make me feel the most feels. Like I said, Frodo Baggins, because he is a little, you know, halfling hobbit who, you know, in all reality, they're just the, like, most laid-back, chill people. All they want to do is eat food and, like, farm and chill out. They don't want to do anything.
What about Sam?
And Sam,
I think
too.
I'll Sam that same way,
But I think hobbits are, like, make the best heroes because, like, they're so... They're innocuous. They don't seem like they're going to be the ones that are going to save the day, but...
I'm sorry, any person that eats that many meals is automatically a hero to me. Whoever invented second breakfast.
But, like, you know, in that vein, you know, you could say Gandalf, but Gandalf is kind of, I mean, he's built for being heroes, and so is Aragorn, and so is, you know, all the other characters of Lord of the Rings, they are built to be heroes.
But classic heroes have their place, too. Like I said, I would still say Gandalf, because, I don't know, he represents good to me. You think of, like, you know, Merlin, the classic wizard, where all this came from and everything, and I think he was more neutral. But Merlin, you know, but Gandalf is good.
Merlin was always depressing to me, like, especially, like, in Once and Future King and stuff like that, where he sees time backwards, so, like, he ages backwards. And he knows all the bad things that are going to happen already to the people. Like, you know, he knows that Camelot is going to fall. He knows all the horrible shit that's going to happen. He knows that Arthur Pendragon is going to get killed by his own bastard half-son. well, not half son, full son, and that, Guinevere is going to leave him, and Lancelot's going to betray him.
You can't resist that Lancelot.
Yeah, Lancelot's going to betray him.
Original sex symbol of history.
To me, Merlin's a sad hero, because though he saw, the greatest, kingdom in English folklore, he knew that it was all going to end anyways. He knew there was no possible way he could save it. He was a slave to time.
Can I bring up one that you might not agree with me as a hero, but she, means so much to me that I look up to her?
Okay.
The Bride.
Oh.
Beatrix Kiddo.
Yeah.
Now, I understand. She was an assassin.
Mm-hmm.
Her whole story is about revenge. But she, in this movie that is larger than life, with everything's blown out of proportion, everything's super stylized, and she's super stylized, right?
Yeah.
She's real, though, too. That end scene in Volume 2, where she's on the bathroom floor crying.
Oh, yeah.
In relief, but in sorrow. I cried with her in that moment. She means a lot to me. I look up to her a lot.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of Grey's Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah. Meredith is?
Is Meredith Grey your hero?
No.
Christine?
Dr. Richard Webber.
Dr.
Is
Richard
the hero.
Webber.
I'm sorry. It's not that I'm not taking it seriously. I just can't think of anybody that would be heroic in a sense that would, I don't know. I just don't see movies the same way you guys do. I watch movies for entertainment and so on and so forth, but I don't look at the deeper meaning all the time.
But what about a book or something? What about Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird?
He's he is.
That's a
social
symbol of
justice
purity.
warrior.
Yeah.
What about Leonidas from 300?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a baller, man. He's a fucking killer, and he kills a shitload of Persians, and knows he's gonna die, and dies in the most badass way possible.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I agree with you on that one. A kids fiction one. I was thinking I got the topics last night, and I was thinking about my favorite books, and obviously Neil Gaiman. I love Neil Gaiman,
yeah.
so I was thinking of his books, but his main characters are so conflicted. I was having trouble calling them heroes a lot. Dream.
Yeah.
I can't really. I love him, but I don't have trouble calling him a hero. He's just kind of neutral.
Neutral.
Do you remember the books by Lois Lowry?
Yeah.
Giving Blue and The Giver, whatever. I think, in The Giver, that main character, I can't remember his name. Do you remember his name? He's a hero.
No, yeah, I know.
Because at the end of the book, he realizes what they're doing. Mm-hmm. They're just pretty much purging whatever they don't want, as in that's not perfect, and he runs away. He's like, bye.
Yeah.
So, he's a hero.
I agree with you, definitely. It takes courage to step out of the system. You can look at that of any of the, dystopian future novels that are so popular now. Katniss, Everdeen, all that sort of stuff. It takes courage to, take down the system.
Then you look at people who, see, when you think about dystopian stuff, I think about Winston Smith, but he's not really a hero, though, is he? He's just somebody. He wants to believe that there's something better than what is. He knows that there's
Isn't
something
that heroic
better.
in it? Hope is heroic in this world.
But that's the thing, though. You find out at the end of 1984 that in reality, it was never him trying to, rebel against the system. He just had to relearn how to love Big Brother, because he had forgot how to love him. You know what I mean? And that's what it ends with.
It does kill your heart a little bit when you have to say that.
Yeah, when you find out that the whole story was not really about him wanting to leave the system for good, but it was rekindling his relationship with Big Brother in the right way.
That does... You feel that. Yeah, I agree with you.
And maybe it was, heroic that he tried to find a better way, but sometimes heroes lose. That's the thing. I guess that's the lesson of adulthood you ultimately have to learn is heroes often die.
Okay, well, I had to go back to my original point because people are going to think, why did I say that Neil Gaiman was a children's author? Which he does write children's books, but I found my hero from his stuff, and it was Coraline.
Coraline's cool.
Coraline,
yeah.
She is inventive and quirky, and she sticks to what she believes in, and, there's this life that seems perfect, but she's smart enough, as a little kid,
to figure it out
and see past it. And I love her. She's herself,
Okay, so final thought.
It's hard saying. Now we start talking about kids stuff. I wanted to get into a new vein of kids heroes because then I was like, oh my god,
Mulan.
Well, I was
Mulan
thinking,
too.
I was thinking Littlefoot from Land Before Time.
I thought for a second there you were talking about my cat. I was like, Littlefoot.
Oh yeah, we call one of Tobine's cats' actual name is Skunk, but We call it Littlefoot sometimes.
Because I don't know. Because she was the smallest, and then she got fat. So she's not really Littlefoot in a sense anymore.
But we still call her Littlefoot because it's adorable.
I just want to hug your cat as soon as I hear that. Like, Littlefoot,
but
must squeeze.
When you started saying Littlefoot, I was like, why is my cat a hero? But then again, Skunk is a hero in her own sense.
Yeah.
She did battle many battles to become the champion of the household.
That's true.
Like, she was originally an outside cat that fought her way into my heart. I'm going to get emotional over the cat.
Animal politics and the seedy dealings that go on with the hierarchy of animals in a house. It is really interesting.
Now she's the most loved. No, I can't say that because that's mean, because there is the other cats. But
they're not listening. You can tell the truth.
She's the most neutral of all of them because she gets along with everybody. She cuddles with me and my mom and my dad and sometimes my brother. So she's the neutral animal. So she is the true hero of the household. She is the peacekeeper. If someone's off the rails, she's like, stop it.
She sounds like a hero to me.
Yeah, so
I second it.
Skunk is now a hero.
What about innocence as a hero, like Winnie the Pooh?
Oh my gosh! They would talk to me. I love Winnie. I have a soft spot for Winnie the Pooh. You guys know that. I have a severe soft spot for Winnie the Pooh.
How many times have I watched Winnie the Pooh? At the end of the movie.
No! Don't now listen here. Don't act like me and you are just sitting and watching Winnie the Pooh. The boy is with us too. Okay.
Hey, I'll say here right now. I don't care if my little guy is in the room or not. I will watch Winnie the Pooh.
Now,
I wasn't insinuating that just you and I were sitting there at 11:30 at night watching the end of Winnie the Pooh.
I'll be the first one to admit, if it's time for bed and we haven't finished the movie and Jim goes to bed, more likely I'm going to finish watching Winnie the Pooh.
No judgment.
No, yeah.
It's we watched Winnie the Pooh one time for family night, and your guys' dad was sitting next to me, and then Tubbs is over here on the couch, and I just hear a collective, and I look over, and your dad's crying, and I'm like, oh, well, that's not anything unusual, and then I see Tubbs over there I'm like, are you crying? Don't look at me.
Look away.
So it's I get it. He's the childhood hero.
Can I say as a video game hero?
Sure.
It's probably the most egotistical answer I can give.
Sure.
My Paragon Femme Shep.
Okay.
I love her. I'm saying then obviously I make the choices for that character, so I guess that's, like I said, an egotistical thing to say, but even though with the Renegade you get to punch and kick and it's the whole, like I said, the badass thing, the Paragon Shep is so level-headed and intelligent and fair.
I went straight Paragon with mine too, so I'd have to say the same thing. My Shep was, because here's the thing, I was it truly was a paragon of altruism, where the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few kind of shit. In real life, I probably wouldn't be that altruistic, but in the game, yeah. And the same thing goes for Fallout. In Fallout 3, I played as good as you can get.
Me too.
What about V for Vendetta?
No. See,
is he a hero or not?
Here, okay. This is you just laid down some beef.
Because you said the needs of the many are more than
okay, but are we talking about V from the comic?
From the movie.
Or are we talking from the movie?
Okay, first of all, here's what I'm gonna lay down right now. There's only one V, and that's the V from the comic book, because the movie got it all wrong. Because the movie, they push it towards how he was about democracy and free speech and stuff like that. The V from the V from the book is an anarchist.
Yeah.
He doesn't believe in freedom and free speech or anything. He is just the polar opposite of totalitarianism and dictatorship and everything that's against freedom, right? Mm-hmm. So, okay, when you're talking about V for Vendetta, the book version is not a hero. Mm-hmm. He is a terrorist and he's an anarchist. Mm-hmm. And nobody should be either of those things, because anarchy and terrorism are wrong. Mm-hmm. But that's exactly what he is. Even though he's killing bad people, there's probably some good people getting killed in that shit too.
Well, we've talked about Alan Moore characters. Can we talk about some more Alan Moore characters?
What
about Rorschach?
See, and that's the thing. Here's the thing. And this is where I don't get me wrong, I love the comic book V for Vendetta. I like V's character. I like all that stuff. He's not a hero, though. Rorschach is a hero.
a very conflicted hero.
But a hero all the same.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. At the end of the day, like, you gotta remember in Watchmen, Ozymandias is the villain. And even though he's trying to do the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, he took it so far, and the fact that he realizes that people have to remain ignorant in order for peace to, like, but that's not, it's just like Night Owl says, that's not real peace. You mutilated it. You destroyed it. It's not really peace. You know what I mean? But Rorschach was like, fuck that. I'm not compromising. I'm going to go tell the first person I see that you did this.
You know what I like about Watchmen, too, is you get to see every aspect of that, too. You see, you know, the villain who's, you know, needs the many outweigh the needs of the few and turning to evil for that. Then you see Dr. Manhattan, who just removes himself.
Yeah.
He just, you know, like, and then you see Rorschach, who keeps fighting, and Night Owl in the same vein. You know what I mean? I love that. You get to see the different ways that these people who are supposed to be heroes.
Exactly.
See, this might be an unpopular opinion, but everyone thinks like Batman and them are heroes. I don't feel like a vigilante man dressed in a rubber suit to me is a hero. I don't think it. I just don't see it because they're taking justice into their own hands.
Here's the thing, though. You're thinking of it in the sense where, like, Batman is going out and fighting the Joker all the time. I like to think of it more like Batman is going out and, like, that fighting the Joker is something that happens, like, it's like biannually. It only happens a couple times a year.
He's cost Gotham thousands of dollars.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The rest of the time, he's hunting down...
Think of the expenses.
But the rest of the time, he's, like, hunting down child sex rings and, like, you know, like, taking down, like, drug kingpins and stuff like that.
There's justice, and then there's just vengeance. And at some point...
But we're talking about...
He's become vengeful.
Okay, but here's the thing. We're talking about a Gotham and a government that's so ineffectual that it required a man in a rubber suit to fight crime.
I mean, I don't see him as a hero.
And you know, it's hard to call him a vigilante, though, too, because there's literally a symbol that they send up for them to help him. I mean, it's not like it's unsolicited help. They send a signal in the sky.
He's a vigilante, but we need the Batman signal.
Listen, you're
a little wishy-washy.
Yeah.
You're a little bit too fast and loose with the vigilante label. Okay? In my opinion, amongst all the comic spectrum in reality, in my mind, I only see a few who I would distinctly say are vigilantes.
Punisher?
Punisher is a vigilante.
Yeah, he's brutal.
He kills. And he kills mostly indiscriminately. Like, for example, in...
you shoplifted. Death.
In Daredevil Season 2, he's going after somebody, and he goes into a hospital and just, like, unloads. In a hospital! He starts shooting up the place to find one guy. That's a vigilante.
Well, you gotta give it to him. He's not picky.
There's no precision to it, though. Like, Batman and Superman, they will try to save literally as many people as humanly possible.
They just have egos. Two big egos. And I'm like,
Do they really?
Yes! Batman's like, I'm the only person that this city needs. And then Superman's like, no, you're not. And so they get into a massive fight, and they destroy half of Gotham.
We're going to finish this topic up, and I'm going to go ahead and say that Frodo Baggins is probably my biggest hero, fictionally speaking. What say you, St. Catherine?
I have to tie it between Ellen Ripley and Princess Leia.
Ellen Ripley might be a close second for me.
She's just so awesome.
Are we talking about Ellen Ripley in Aliens, right?
Alien, yes.
Or Alien or Aliens?
Okay, that's two different Ellen Ripleys. So let's not open a whole can of worms here.
I feel like Aliens Ellen Ripley is more heroic than Alien Ellen Ripley.
Well, that depends. Okay, I agree with you because they add more to her character when she's protecting the little girl.
Yeah, in Alien, she's more or less somebody like trying to escape the monster in a haunted house. Like,
but she's still so awesome.
Oh, she's
she
awesome.
does it too.
Yeah, she's awesome. But like, I feel like Aliens Ellen Ripley.
She does come into herself in the second one.
Think about it. She straps like two guns together with a flamethrower. Yeah. And and then
she's
at the
in that
end,
little machine
where she's in the robot suit. Get away from her, you bitch!
I agree. Yeah, Alien. I agree with you.
Yeah.
And then Princess Leia. I mean, she was just one of my first examples of, you know, smart and strong, and like I said, I'm gonna get all the feels.
Oh yeah.
It killed me when we lost Carrie Fisher, but she means a lot to me. So I think tie between those two.
Toe beans.
I can't be serious.
Sagwa.
Is it
Sagwa.
It's
still Sagwa.
Cat? Okay. That's fine.
You don't know. It's like, I'm 4th grade. You come home from school, you turn on PBS,
Sagwa.
and you just hear the theme song, and you're like, fuck yeah. With your bowl of ramen.
Did you whisper, Sagwa, you're my best when they say that part during the theme song.
It was the best. It was easy times. Just Sagwa and the TV.
He is a hero to you because, like I said, I was talking about earlier, Winnie the Pooh. Symbols of innocence are heroic.
Yeah.
And this time where nothing is innocent. Yeah. You know, things that are purely good are nice sometimes.
Yeah.
You know?
Example, when she dips her tail in the ink and she starts signing her name, it's oh God.
There's nothing more innocent.
There's full episodes on YouTube. I know what I'm doing with my spring break.
There's something far more innocent than that. And that's Winnie the Pooh tying a balloon to himself and flying up and covering himself in mud and flying.
I'm just a little black rain.
That is the most tender, loving thing I've ever seen in my life. All to get some honey. He's just a little Buddha. I love him. Okay, but so next topic, I don't know how much time we're gonna have to spend on this one, but also sent by St. Kathryn of College Corner. Our Lady.
Candle just flickered.
And she asked us if we ever experienced lost time or if we have premonitions.
Like personally experienced lost time or premonitions?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, maybe you have feelings. Like, you wake up one morning and you're like, I feel like today's going to be shitty. And then something really shitty happens. But then again, I don't know if I believe in premonitions so much for myself. Maybe other people do, but because I don't want to be morbid, but some of the days that ended the worst, they started the best. Mm-hmm. Example, like you having a really, really good day and then you get a phone call and then your day's ruined. But the day previous to that phone call was a normal, great day. Like you did your routine, you did what you needed to do. I had no premonition that was going to be a shit ending to that day. Mm-hmm. So...
Well, it's the nature of the premonition itself. I mean, that's why people say psychics don't exist because, why wouldn't they just get the lottery numbers and, win $1 million? It's like, in my experience, I feel like I have had a premonition before and it is the most mundane, stupid crap in the world. Like, I don't get to control I've had a dream. And I'll tell you, it was a dream. I was in, at Walmart, they have that one aisle where it's the only place you can buy cigarettes, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the only one that's open at night.
Right.
I had a dream about being in that aisle and having a conversation with a person that I did not know. The most stupid, mundane thing in the world. And lo and freaking behold, that exact same thing happened. And I knew what the person was going to say, a couple days later. And I'm like, what's even the point of that?
Why did I have to experience this? I already experienced it.
It's like the worst sort of foresight in the world. Like, great, so I'm going to have a C-grade conversation with a stranger. Good thing I got some warning about that one. I mean, I've had little things like that. And then I've had, dreams and stuff. Like, I don't know if I thought you have, Tubbs, where people have visited you in dreams and stuff.
Yeah, I've had a few dreams where I've had dead people visit me. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit weird. I've had 2 dreams where my grandmother on my father's side visited me.
And so have I, actually, that same person.
They were weird. And they both had the same connotations where you were completely and utterly convinced in the dream that this person was still alive. Mm-hmm. To the point where, and it wasn't even like it was a long dream or anything like that. It's very brief, and you wake up and it takes you a second to think, wait, are they still alive or did they die? And then you have to remind yourself that in fact they did pass, know?
Well, I mean, I've had dreams, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't call them premonitions, but I've had dreams that people that have recently died, I've had dreams where they die in my dreams over and over. Well, not over and over, but I've had 2 dreams recently where people that have recently died, I've had them in my dreams. Mm-hmm. And it's something like we've been at their funeral or they've died and we deal with it, and then you wake up and it's kind of that thought, wait, was it all a dream or are they really passed on? Like, I've had those dreams. Mm-hmm. But I've never had a dream where somebody died in my dream and then, in the next few months they die. Mm-hmm. I've never had that. Now, I know my dad has had a dream where he went to his grandfather's funeral. And then he said probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, his grandpa really died. So, I don't know.
I've always seen, now lost time, that's to me, that's...
Oh, lost time, I don't know.
That's extraterrestrial. Mm-hmm. That's where it's mostly associated with. It's and I know a few people that have, hours where at one point they're somewhere and then the next they're somewhere else. Now, I've had moments before where, like, I've had brief moments of lost time. Mm-hmm. Where, like, I'll be in my car and maybe it's just me zoning out, but I'll be, like, driving and then suddenly I'm somewhere else and I'm like...
Well, that would be my same experience, too.
And then I'd be like...
How did I get here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, how the hell did I just, like, completely tune out for the last, like... And it's, like, 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. Did I just tune out for 20 minutes and somehow get here, like, on autopilot? But...
Well, you know, when I was dating my current husband, Taco, I would have a 45-minute drive to his house and a 45-minute drive back every single day. And I wouldn't leave his house till, like, 2 in the morning. And there were several times I don't remember getting home. Oh. I don't remember how I got home. And, I mean, it could just be I'm like, it's a miracle I made it home, I should say. I was so tired.
Yeah, I've been there.
And, I mean, like I said, that could just be your brain, you know, shutting down the functions because you're so tired, you're just on autopilot trying to drive home. But, like, that's my closest experience to it. Just, you know, kind of realizing, like, how did I get home?
I've done that, driving home from Tubbs' house when he lived in Oxford. Like, it would be maybe a 25-minute drive, but I would get through town, and then you'd be on these back roads, and I'd driven these roads hundreds and hundreds of times, and all of a sudden, I'm in my driveway at my house, and I'm like, trying to think back. Do I remember taking that curve that's really scary? Mm-hmm. Or how did I get here?
How did this possum get in my car?
Where did this corned beef sandwich come from?
Wait, did I go to...
Shit, man, if that happened to me, I'd be like, corned beef.
Did I go to Subway at some point?
So, I guess I don't know if that counts as lost time, but it is weird, you know, how, you know, the auxiliary functions of your brain just shut down and get you somewhere to, you know, keep you alive, you know what I mean, and do what you need to do.
Lost time when you eat a really good sandwich. Yeah. Like, did I eat that already?
I better make another one just to be sure.
But you know what
that's just losing yourself in the food.
Do you know what really messes me up, though? And I think about this way more often than I should. Like, what really messes me up is I don't remember every day that I've ever had. And that messes me up because, like, when I think of time, I think... I'm going on a tangent. In my head, like, time in a year is... I can see the months in a linear sequence. Like, we're in March. So, my brain is on the third space over. Mm-hmm. And... I don't remember every day I've ever had. Mm-hmm. I don't remember every morning I've ever woken up. And that's scary to me.
But I think Total Recall would be a burden, though, for
It would, but to me, it's like, I'm going to keep functioning, and I don't remember every moment I've ever had, everything that I've ever said. There's gaps that you don't remember because there's just so much information in your brain.
You don't know a part of yourself, really, because you've forgotten some of it. Like,
I don't remember experiences that I've had with people that might be the most, like, influential experience that they've had that day. I don't remember those experiences. I don't remember people all the time. Like, people be like, hey, I know you from somewhere, and I'm like, I've never seen you before in my life.
Like, okay, we've all watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia in this room. You gotta imagine your brain is like Charlie from It's Always Sunny when he worked as a mail clerk.
Pepe Sylvia. Pepe Sylvia. Everything's there. Pepe Sylvia.
The mail keeps coming in, and you're just having to burn most of it. And only keeping the most pertinent pieces. And somehow tying them together. Like,
but don't you feel betrayed by your own brain when you remember something wrong? Like, you're so sure that's exactly how it happened.
Oh, and then everyone's like, no, that's not.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I told you I had those dreams last week about you. And how I had 2 dreams that you were pregnant. And my brain had gaslighted me into thinking you were pregnant. I was like, I've dreamed about it so much at this point, she's probably pregnant. But, no, it wasn't. It was just for some reason, my brain betraying me.
Well, I had a dream last night or the night before that we broke up. Yeah. And I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do with this house?
You have that thing where you wake up and you have that panic and then relief. That's the greatest feeling.
Oh, the panic and then the relief. Like,
you're like, oh, it didn't happen.
Have you ever had dreams that you've totaled your car?
Oh, yeah.
And then you're like, you're crying in your dream, like, what am I supposed to do? And then you go out and your car's there and you're like, I'm sorry, I betrayed you. I didn't mean it. But I don't know. Lost time to me, I've never had... I mean, the closest it would be if I'm driving home and I lost that 20 minutes. Maybe because I'm so tired. Maybe because my brain's like, you can't handle executive functioning right now. You just need to focus on the task at hand. But I've never had moments or hours where I'm like sitting on the couch and then the next thing you know it's 9 o'clock. I'm like, wait.
Yeah, I know. Like classic example of lost time is, I heard of the person that went to go see Hellboy, and then they went as a couple, and then both of them were sitting there during the credits, and they're like, did we see the movie? Like they lost that entire movie, and they asked.
That's crazy because that's a good movie.
Yeah, I don't think they were faulting the movie. They just didn't remember. It was like they were gone, and they were back for the credits.
See, the closest I ever come to that in a movie was when I went to watch Quantum of Solace. It was so goddamn hot in the theater. And I was sitting next to a dude that, I'm a big guy, but he easily had about 50 to 75 pounds on me. And he was hot as hell, too. And I was sitting between him and another friend of mine that's a fairly portly fellow. So it was 3 portly fellows sitting next to each other in a hot theater.
Sweating.
Was it like a sweat lodge? Did you ascend to a new level of being?
Because I don't even remember most of that movie. Just because it was so terrible. And I was like eating like Reese's Hershey bars and my one portly fellow kept throwing sweet tarts on me and I was eating them. And it was just, like I said, it was just a very like terrible experience. Not the most terrible experience at a movie theater I've been to. The worst was when we went and saw How the Grinch Stole Christmas. That was horrendous.
I know. When we saw From Hell was pretty bad too, when the screen was shaking.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, I had the worst headache from that.
Which movie was that?
From Hell.
Oh,
that was the pits.
But yeah, but you were saying.
I don't know. I was just saying so. I mean, okay, my final thought on the whole thing is premonitions. Maybe other people have them. I've never had a premonition. I've never been like, something really bad's going to happen today. It's usually me and my cheery, ignorant self, like, this is a really good day, and then, BAM! Hit by the proverbial shit train. And then, as far as lost time, I don't know. I don't know if I believe that there's something, like, taking me from my body in those moments. I just think I'm tired, and my brain needs to shut off. Or I'm listening to a really good, like, story from a scary podcast, and you're into the story, and you lose that 20 minutes. I don't know. I don't believe there's aliens taking me. I'm not that interesting.
Maybe they're just that good at taking you don't even notice, Caitlin. Maybe it's the ones, the people that notice the last time is like the, the D-grade aliens who aren't doing it quite how they need to.
You gotta think of like editing. They're trying to splice together the last moment you had to this moment. And sometimes it doesn't turn out so well. It's just like in podcasting, like, you'd be listening to it and all of a sudden, like, the tone changes and everything changes. That's because something got edited out of it. And we apologize for that on the show, but sometimes it happens.
But yeah, I just don't think that there's an alien that's that interested in me that's like, fuck, we gotta get this person now.
Well, see, the thing is, like,
we need all her knowledge about Sagwa.
And Sagwa and cats.
There's a theory that in reality, like, this is all just a simulation. A simulation, right?
So you're not really real.
But the thing is like, we have a purpose. We're basically like analog meat sacks that record data and then send them back to the hard drive, right?
Yeah, sometimes...
So you are important. You're just as important as every other meat sack that's recording data right now.
Sometimes, I've looked at it, like, I've been in a place and I've looked around and I'm like, everyone's seeing their own thing. Everyone is experiencing their own thing. And then my mind just goes, and then I gotta go back to reality. Yeah. Like right now, in this room, everyone is experiencing their own feelings, their own thoughts, like, I'm seeing you, but you're seeing me. I can't see me.
And you're recording that data.
Yeah, and then you're going to think on it later. And then my mind, like I said, explodes for 5 seconds, and then I come back, and I'm like, oh, well, I don't care. So it's kind of like, I don't know, lost time to me. It's just my brain. Maybe it makes my brain feel better to think it's just my brain. Yeah. That's just me.
I think people experience lost time. I don't think I've experienced classic lost time. That's my final thought on that. And then premonitions, I do believe I've had them, but... they've served me no purpose.
Well, it's
so like, I'm just gonna get stuck in the checkout lane.
Yeah,
it's like we were talking about before.
I don't even smoke cigarettes. I'm stuck there.
The aliens in Arrival, they were able to think in the nonlinear sense, right? Okay, I have a theory that people who have premonition, sometimes not every person who has premonition, some of them are just quacks. You know what I mean, or cold readers. You know what I mean? But I think that there are people who, for whatever reason, whether it be a short circuit or something like that, can see maybe more than what we can see.
Maybe see through the cracks.
And see, well, not through the cracks, but see
the whole time
in the nonlinear sense. Maybe just for a flash. But the thing is, to come back and explain it to us, we would all just think they're crazy or wouldn't believe them.
Well, they probably don't even comprehend all that knowledge, so they come back with something that's a little...
It's like, I hate to get all Nostradamus on this shit, but he said some weird shit in his premonitions that you could kind of, like, relate to stuff that's happened. You know what I mean? Whether it was just him bullshitting and he just got it. Like, some of the shit, he just got nail on the head.
Yeah.
And it's like, was he just bullshitting? Or did he really, like, see some shit? And the thing is, like, when he talked about some shit, he can't, like... He, like, you know, sometimes, like, where, like, you know, where he talked about, like, Hitler, but he called him Hister and stuff like that. Like, he's only getting glimpses of it, so he can't give you the whole rundown. Or when he's talking about flying machines and stuff like that, like, how the hell is someone from the Renaissance era, or even further back, able to describe something that's heavier than air, that's not a bird flying through the sky? You would call it, like, an iron bird, right? Yeah, I'm totally on board. I mean, me, myself, I'm no Nostradamus, but I'm not going to discount it either. But, on to the last topic, and this came from Toe Beans. Yay, Toe Beans. Thank you, Toe Beans.
You're welcome.
She asked us, what is the greatest Zelda game of all time?
Oh, fair.
Now,
about to get real.
There's been many Zelda games, but I would have to say, without a shadow of a doubt, there is a close second, but the first and foremost is Ocarina of Time, the best Zelda game.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not clear on some of the names because there's so many of them.
Okay.
But I can describe it to you.
Okay,
and we'll tell you.
What's the one? It was a Game Boy Advance. I had it on Game Boy Advance, so anyway. It didn't have water. It had, like, I don't remember what it was.
Did you get 3 pendants and then a bunch of maidens? Wait.
You had the thing that you would... Maybe it was Ocarina of Time.
Well, no, hold on. Are you talking about, like, a... Okay, Ocarina of Time had Ocarina. Are you talking about maybe, like, Oracle of...
Maybe it was Link to the Past.
Link to the Past?
Link to the Past.
That was my close second.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Second. But you have not played Breath of the Wild.
Okay, I haven't played the new one yet, so... I mean, I am dated in my...
Or Wind. Oh my gosh, I can't remember what it is.
Is it Breath of the Wind?
Breath of the Wind. Oh my gosh, okay. I feel terrible. Here I'm saying it's great and I can't even get the name right.
Yeah, but, see, I'm not good at the... I just remember playing it when I was young. And there was...
No, it's Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Ocarina of Time, my cousin had it on her old gaming system. And we would go over to the house and I just remember, like, hearing that theme music. And you'd be like, oh, shit, we're going to spend the next 3 hours in this basement when we're supposed to be at a birthday party and not leaving. I remember playing that for hours, so I don't know. I don't know if it's so much the names that I care about, but I remember playing it.
Ocarina of Time is insane. I could play that game over and over and over again.
And plusly, like, I think that's probably the best fight you have with Ganondorf. And the most, I feel like it has the most stakes. You know what I mean? Like, between... You know, having to do the volley thing with him when he's still Ganondorf, and then when he transforms into Ganon and fucking everything just goes fucking crazy and fucking fire everywhere.
I'll tell you what's hard is I just played A Link Between Worlds, and I'm late to party on that one, but you know I like Link to the Past, so I finally got around to playing that. That final boss fight I thought was hard. You got to go in a wall and like deflect the beams while you're in the wall, you know, because that's part of the thing. That one was crazy, but like I said, I agree with Link to the Past and But the newest one, it's good.
It's good.
Yeah, I mean, it adds all these elements that weren't there before. All these, you know, cooking and crafting and, you know, taming horses, and it's so open world. It's crazy. Like, obviously, you could goof around in like Ocarina of Time and all that, and run off and you know go to the ranch and everything. Yeah. But in this one, there's collecting and I don't know. It's so different.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's good. It's really good.
Yeah. So. Those are our picks for greatest Zelda games of all time.
You say Ocarina of Time is the best.
Yeah, definitely the best. So,
Majora's Mask is good.
Majora's Mask is good, but I feel like it's kind of like it's an epilogue to Ocarina of Time. You know what I mean? It's just basically like a sequel, but not as good as the original, unfortunately. But, well...
It's so dark, though. I mean, it goes places that hadn't... You know, I guess Zelda does get dark at times, but I don't know. That one, it's just such a different flavor, I think. Yeah. You know? And I think the same thing of Wind Waker.
Wind Waker, yeah.
Wind Waker's good. People hated on Wind Waker so bad, but I loved it.
Yeah, Wind Waker wasn't bad. The first time I tried to play it, I wasn't a big fan of it. But then the second time when I started playing it, I was like, I got through the first part and finally figured out the controls and stuff like that. And I was like, This is pretty good.
What about Skyward Sword?
What that one's from?
That's Link to the Past.
Okay.
Yeah, Link to the Past is great.
Yeah.
What about Skyward Sword?
Skyward Sword's okay. I like Twilight Princess, too, for that matter.
I think... Okay, so... I love Zelda as a character, right? But you'd see glimpses of her character and everything.
Yeah.
I think Skyward Sword and the newest game give you the best impressions of Zelda herself and the relationship and the Link.
Yeah.
You know, the connection between Link and Zelda.
Yeah.
Like the Zelda in the new game, she's scientific and curious, and you care about her motivations way more. And then Zelda and Skyward Sword, she's fun and, you know, she's smart too and everything. Like, I appreciated them giving more dimension to the character because, you know, Link himself is even, for such a iconic character, he's kind of a blank slate.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't talk.
Well, he's you.
Yeah.
You play.
Yeah.
Right.
So, it's nice to see, give me reasons to care about these people that I already care about.
Yeah.
You know, and give me grounding for why this is one of my favorite characters.
I just think, like, just to say this, like, in all reality, the Zelda games are probably one of the best franchise of games ever created, just because, like, they've always been consistently good, and for me at least, not to say I don't like puzzle games, but puzzle games are good in small doses. And Zelda, I feel like, has always been able to, like, give me that nice dose of puzzle without being too, like, demanding of me with the puzzles. It goes like, puzzle, fight, puzzle, fight.
And they reward you for being a loyal player in the fact that there's a flavor to Zelda puzzles. You know what I mean? Once you start getting the hang of it, it starts making sense. And that doesn't stop them from being clever or different. Yeah. But when you start to understand how their brains work when they make, you know, Zelda puzzles and everything, it makes it still enjoyable but easier on you and stuff. So, but as far as misses, they're few and far between for Zelda. Like, the only one I didn't really get into that I played was Spirit Tracks.
Yeah, I never played Spirit Tracks.
It wasn't bad. It just didn't grab me. You know what I mean? I never played Minish Cap either. I don't know if you've ever played that one. I played
Minish Cap.
Was it good?
It was alright. It was okay. It wasn't the best of the Zelda games, I'll tell you that right now. But
did you ever play the originals?
Yeah.
They are hard.
Oh, yeah. But those aren't... Yeah, I mean, those are like...
How do you go from Link to the Past to playing that?
Link to the Past is fun.
Exactly. How do you go from Link to the Past to playing that? It's like... I'm not saying it's a bad game. I mean, that's what started it all, but it's... They're brutal.
Yeah.
They're brutal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Link to the Past is mine.
Okay. All right, well, I think that's going to wrap up the show this week. We'd like to thank you all for listening. I'd like to thank St. Kathryn of College Corner and Toe Beans for guest hosting on the show. Next week, Bones should be back.
Yay!
So, you know, keep sending us those topics. We really appreciate it. Check us out on Facebook. Hey, if you really feel it, check us out on Patreon. We'd love to, feel the love. But check out our website, bonesandtubs.com. You can actually send us topics on there as well. And we have all our episodes. Check us out on iTunes, on Beyond Pod. All the podcasters, for the most part, should have us now. So you can listen to us in the car. Don't have to listen to us all on YouTube anymore. But if YouTube is your preferred method, go ahead and keep listening to us on YouTube. That's fine with us. But, all right, well, thank you guys for listening. And we'll see you next week. We love you.
Bye.
I love you too.
See you later.
The memories that always last, ghosts from the distant past, severed from the daily prayer, just